All right, to those of you who've forgotten, today is the final deadline for motorists to renew their expired driving licenses as the grace period is coming to an end. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula has already made clear there won't be any further extensions and motorists who drive with expired licenses will be penalized. South Africa has a backlog of 1.3 million expired driving license cards. We are joined now by the RTMC spokesperson Simon Zwane just to discuss this a bit further. Mr. Zwane, thank you very much for joining us here on All Angles. So what happens if you find me on the road tomorrow with an expired license and no proof of actually trying to renew it?
Hello, Masiko.
Yes, Mr. Zwane, just confirm if you can still hear me.
I can hear you now, yes.
All right, so today is the last day to try and renew it, right? And usually when you go to licensing stations, they give you that little paper that confirms, at least that you can show to police, that you are waiting for a license card if they stop you. So what happens if tomorrow or next week you stop someone and they have an expired license and no proof of actually trying to renew? How will they be penalized?
Now, indeed, the time of the grace period is coming to an end. So those who have not yet taken time to go and renew, when they are stopped by traffic officers, they will now have to face the consequences. That means they will get traffic fines. But those who have renewed and have got proof that they have renewed, they'll be able to show that to the officers. But those who have not yet made any arrangements, they must go to their DLTCs or make the bookings to go and renew. And when they do renew, they must obtain temporary driving licenses to remain legal on the roads.
What will happen if a person doesn't show police officers their proof that they're still waiting for their license card, etc.? What kind of penalties do motorists face if they don't adhere to the fact that today is the last day?
Yeah, penalties differ per jurisdiction, but there will be heavy fines that will be issued by the traffic officers to anyone who drives with an expired driving license card.
All right, so in terms of the backlog, how are we looking in terms, remember at some point the issue was the machine that prints the license cards going to Germany, etc. It did make its way back into our country and the minister made promises in terms of how many would be printed per day. How are we looking in terms of the backlog there?
Yeah, the driving license printing agency is printing about 100,000 driving licenses per week, and people who have already applied for driving licenses and are waiting for their license cards, they can check by sending an SMS to 33214. They are working 24-hour shifts to ensure that people are able to get their driving license cards as soon as possible. So even the licensing centers for the month of May, they are working extra time to also provide people with an opportunity to make the applications and to be able to be compliant on the road. So they will be working until 6 p.m. daily. They're opening also over the weekends at the RTMC centers in Waterfall and at the Eco Park. They are working from 7 in the morning to 9 p.m. every day, Monday to Sunday. All of that is done to ensure that people are able to get access and are able to apply and they can comply.
But statistically, how's it looking in terms of that backlog, in terms of printing? Remember, we had a problem with backlog even before COVID. COVID exacerbated it, especially in provinces like Gauteng. So that backlog, statistically, what are the numbers looking like?
That number now, we're sitting at 1.3 million people who have not yet renewed.
Oh, it's still, okay.
Majority of them between the age of 25 and 50. There's about 800,000 of those people. So they must really we know that these are the people who are driving actively on the roads, and that is why we are making all of these arrangements so that those people are able to gain access and are able to renew.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, is there an issue still, Mr. Zwane, in terms of people making their online appointments but not pitching when it's time to actually go and renew their license cards?
Yeah, that is a big problem. There are people who make appointments and don't show up. We're urging people who have made appointments to please, they must show up for the appointments that they have made, because that is a slot that could have been taken by somebody else who really needs the license. And people should not make the bookings if they really don't need to be making to renew. So the slots are available, but at the RTMC here, they're allowing others who are really desperate, who want to walk in, we will assist those who want to come in and renew.
Is there anything that the system does, for instance, to assist with this problem you've just spoken about? Maybe send an SMS. If I'm able to get an appointment today, but it's 4 months down the line, it would be very easy for me to forget as a motorist. So is there a reminder SMS maybe the week prior or a day prior to say, don't forget you have an appointment?
We are sending SMS reminders as well for this month to say, your license has expired, please do make arrangements to go and renew. The system itself does not generate the reminders, but from the database we are able to send SMSs to those people whose licenses have expired and they have not made any arrangements.
All right, Mr. Simon Zwane from the RTMC, thank you very much for your time here.